Hello, this is Vicky from the Spellbound Bead Company, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make this lemon and lime knotted necklace. To make the necklace you're going to need 5 of our lemon beads, you're going to need 3 limes, you're going to need 12 leaves, and you're going to need 1 8mm round for the clasp. The beauty of this necklace, or one of the beauties of this necklace, is the fact that there's no metal findings involved, which means that if you have a sensitivity or an allergy, then actually you can wear this necklace without any worries. If you prefer to put a clasp on it, you can do that. If you refer back to any of our videos on finishing off knotting cords, so using a culotte crimp or a box lace end, then you can do that and attach a clasp of your preference. So the necklace is made in 2 strands on Ceylon cord, and for this I've cut 2 1 metre lengths of the Ceylon cord. We're going to start by making up the long strand, then we're going to make the short strand, and then we're going to bring the 2 strands together on either side of the centre and then adjust the necklace to the length that we want. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sort my beads out into 3 piles. So we've got the long strand, which has got 3 lemons and 2 limes. We've got the short strand, which has got 2 lemons and 1 lime. We've got the stringing, which is going to have 4 leaves and the clasp bead. We're then going to split the leaves, the remaining leaves, between the 2 piles. So we're going to have 3 beads for the short strand and 5 beads for the long strand. So just for now I'm going to put the stringing beads and the short strand beads to one side, and we'll focus on the long strand. So I'm going to have them so that I've got a lemon in a centre with a lime either side and then a lemon either side of that, and each one of these fruits is going to have a leaf. So that's our stringing sequence for the centre of the necklace, and we're going to start by adding the lemon onto one end of the cord. Now this cord I have put in some clear nail varnish, and I've sort of mushed it into the end of the cord to make it nice and sturdy. If you don't have any clear nail varnish to hand, you can use PVA glue or something similar. I wouldn't use super glue because it's too stiff. You need something that's got a little bit of flexibility to it. So let's just move these up here so I'm working a bit nearer the centre of the camera. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the 2 ends together above the lime, and I'm going to bring my cord round in a loop, and I'm just going to tie a knot. Okay, and I'm going to just use my fingers to manipulate that knot where I want it, so that it sits above the lemon. You don't want it to sit too tight against the lemon. You need it to have a little bit of play, because if you make it too tight, then your lemon is potentially going to sit at a slightly peculiar angle. So you just want something that's going to sit loosely. We're then going to add a leaf above the fruit. So I'm going to take one of my leaves and I'm going to thread that onto the cord, and then not pull it out again, and then I'm going to bring that down so that it's sitting close to the top of the knot above the lemon. And I'm actually just going to tie a knot with this cord, and I'm going to trap the leaf in the knot. Okay, so you can see there that the leaf is caught in the knot, and again I'm just going to hold the leaf where I want it to be, and I'm just going to pull on the other end of the cord, and then we've added our leaf above our lemon. We're then going to work one side out, then the other. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another lime, and we're going to thread through. Oh wait, yes, there we go. And we're going to bring that down so that it sits reasonably close to the lemon. And now what we're going to do is we're going to tie another knot. This one is a little bit trickier to tie than the first one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the cords below just above the knot that I've made on the lemon, and I'm going to bring that lime round and I'm going to bring it back through on itself. So it's a little bit awkward, you just got to take your time. And push it through like so, and then before the knot tightens completely, what you want to do is you want to adjust it so that it's sitting about the distance that you want from the previous knot. Okay, so as you can see, I've got a slightly larger loop sitting above the lime than the lemon, but for this style of necklace, it doesn't really matter because it's quite a casual necklace. We're then going to do the same thing as we did here with the leaf. So we're going to thread the leaf onto the cord, bring it all the way down, and tie a knot. So you can just pull the knot loose, readjust it and tighten it back up again. And then we're going to do the same thing with the last lemon on this side. So again, we're going to thread through the hole. I'm going to tie a knot. And we're just going to check where that knot's sitting and make sure you don't end up with too big a loop. So just take your time and give it a smeek, and there we go. And then again, we're going to add a leaf. And then, as before, we're going to tie a knot. Oops. Now, you can see that's sitting quite a way away from where we want it to be. So what I've got here is I've got a pin. This is a dressmaking pin. You could use an awl, you could use a head pin if you've got one of those to hand. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that into the knot, pull it tighter, and then I'm actually just going to hold it so that it guides the knot to where you want it to sit, like so. And there you'll find that your knot is sitting more or less where you want it to be. Okay, so that's the first half of the longer strand of the necklace made. So we're now going to do the same thing on the other side. So we've got the lemon for the centre, so I'm going to add the lime. And again, we're going to do the same as we've done with the others. I'm going to tie the knot. There we go. Let's just unroll the cords. So we want this knot to sit about there. And we want to try and make it a little bit shorter. Just pull. There we go. And again, going to add the leaf. And then for this strand, the final lemon. Okay, we'll tie that. And again, we need to adjust that knot because it is A little bit on the long side. There we go. And our final leaf. And there we go, that's our longest strand made. It's not perfect, but we can take time and adjust that as and when we need to. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the same thing to make a second strand that's just got the lime, a lime in the middle and 2 lemons on it. So that will be the shorter strand that's on the bracelet, sorry, the necklace just here. So once I've done that, I'll come back and we will put the 2 strands together. Okay, so as you can see, I've now completed the second strand of the necklace and I've got the 2 strands lying side by side on the bead mat. So what we need to do is work out how we want them to sit. So to do this, we'll lie them side by side and we're just going to grip the 2 cords in your fingers, and if you just lift it up slightly, you'll be able to see how they're hanging. So what you don't want is the 2 strands to be touching each other, right? You don't want them to be overlapping. So just adjust with your fingers until you've got them hanging approximately where you want them to be. It's quite difficult to show you, obviously, because the minute I hold it up, all you can see is the top of the necklace. But you've got them so that they're not quite, the strands are not quite touching. And then what you want to do is just tie another knot with the 2 strands together to hold it in place. Just like, okay, so there's the first side. And then we're going to tie the knot on the second side. It's going to be roughly equidistant to the knots on the first side. So just double check the way it's hanging. And I'm going to turn this round and tie the knot. And there we have the 2 strands sitting together. So now to decorate the cord on the necklace, and this is entirely up to you, this is a decorative feature. We're going to bring back in the 4 leaves that we put aside, and I'm going to, onto the 1 cord, I'm just going to thread on 1 more leaf. And then this time I'm actually going to tie it in an overhand knot just above the leaf to hold it in place, to hold the 2 strands together. Just like so. And then a little bit further up, so what's that, about 3/4 of an inch or so, I'm going to tie another overhand knot. And then the second leaf for this side. Okay, and then a second knot on the end here. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side of the necklace. So where the knot is, I'm going to thread on 1 of the leaves. And then tie an overhand knot. And again, leave a gap. tie a knot, and then tie another leaf on. Okay. Okay, so there we have the central portion of the necklace all done and ready to go. So all that we need to do now is decide on the finished length of the necklace and then attach the clasp. So this first version that's been made here, you can see there are a few more knots up the length of the cord. You can do that if you want to, or you can leave that off. That's up to you. That's just a decorative feature. There's no other purpose behind it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide roughly how long I want this side string to be, and then I'm going to tie another knot. And then onto, you can see here I've got two different lengths of cord. So onto the longer length, I'm just going to thread the bead onto the end of the cord, like so. And then I'm going to bring the two ends together above the bead, and I'm actually going to tie this in a double knot for security. So there's the first knot. And then there's the second knot. I'll pull those two cord ends through. And then pull that down again. And there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of nail varnish on this knot. And we're going to leave that to set for a minute while we look at the other end of the necklace. So what we're going to do on the other end here is we're going to make a loop that's going to sit, move the mat this way a little, we're going to make a loop that's going to sit over this bead. So we're going to tie the first overhand knot so that it's going to sit roughly underneath the bead. And then we're going to tie, oh, okay, so if you can see there, what I've done is the knot's actually sitting above the height of the clasp bead. So I'm going to actually tie the second knot underneath. I'm going to make sure that it's about the width of the bead, slightly larger, so that we can then take this loop. That nail varnish has dried now, so we're going to trim ourselves a little tail on this end here, and we're going to pass that bead through that loop. I am very much fingers and thumbs today. We're going to pass that bead through that loop and check that it's the right sort of size, which it is. So again, let's take that back out so I don't accidentally cut the wrong threads here now, because that is a risk. What I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to put a bit of nail varnish on this knot, these knots, just because we need them to be nice and secure. Again, if you don't have nail varnish, PVA glue will work just as well. And then we're going to take these tails and we're going to trim them. We're going to leave about 5 or 6 millimetres, about 1/4 of an inch above the end of the knot. And there we have our finished necklace. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.